welcome everybody this afternoon. My name is Votto. I'm the Chief Operating Officer for the Cranston School Department. We're here today to discuss the removal of the banner, any questions that you may have pertaining to that. We will not entertain any questions regarding the status of the student in any way, shape, or form. So if you have any questions, please confine them to the subject matter. The banner was removed by our own staff. Began on Saturday at 7 a.m. in the morning, and it concluded around 2 o'clock in the afternoon. The following day, which was Sunday, the staff came back, and obviously, as you can see, put up sheetrock and plastered it and painted over it to make sure that it kind of blended in somewhat with the building. We had a little bit more work to do yesterday, Monday, so the auditorium was closed for a period of time, but then, as you can see, the final product is there. The banner itself was cut out and saved. It has been taken to a secure site for storage, and it is not in this building. I can guarantee you that. And right now, it's in a holding pattern until such time as the school committee decides on what to do with the banner. We've had several requests from different organizations or entities for the banner, and they have yet to make that decision. I know the question is going to come up for the cost the district had in terms of removing it by utilizing our own staff and working on a weekend, which obviously involves overtime. Our labor cost was $1,800, and materials and supplies were approximately another $500 to $600. So I would say it was in the range between $2,200 and $2,500 to remove the banner to start.
Have you notified the court?
Our attorneys have notified both the ACLU and the courts.
So it's all in one piece?
It's all in one piece. Actually, just to give you some dimensions, if you will, the banner itself was 8 feet by 4 and approximately kind of 6 inches in the thickness. So, but what they did was when they took it down, they had to cut around in a much larger piece. Joe is one of the folks who did it, and he'll tell you that it was approximately 11 feet in length and 5 feet wide. So it was a pretty substantial job that took a while. But it is in one piece, yet there is a little additional wall to it, we'll say, because of the way they had to cut it out to make sure that it didn't get damaged.
How would you characterize the reaction of students to this?
I didn't hear any reaction from the principal, nor did I inquire, quite honestly, so I don't know what their reaction was.
So it's essentially a piece of paper stuck to a bigger piece
Almost like a piece of wallpaper, correct, yes.
Can you tell us about some of the offers that you've had to take it?
Well, I think one in particular you've seen already, I think in the news, is that Immaculate Conception School, the pastor of Immaculate Conception Church, has sent a letter to the superintendent, as well as the members of the school committee, requesting that they would take it. We've had some inquiries from the class of '63, who presented the gift to the school about taking it and placing it somewhere, which I'm not sure they determined where that would be. So those are the 2 inquiries that I know about at this point.
Is it, when you say it's been secured, is it in something? Is it wrapped up? Or is it?
Well, they had to make sure that there's no damage took place when they loaded it on the truck, so they did kind of wrap some stuff up with it and secured it such that, you know, it obviously didn't, because as you know, it was 2x4s or 2x3s were securing it, so they didn't want it to fold in and really kind of tear the paper. So yes, it is.
Why did they want to preserve it?
Please?
Why did they want to preserve it?
Because they had organizations who inquired on whether they would like it or not. And plus, the class of '63 was very interested in getting the gift back if it could be done.
How much did it weigh?
I have no idea. Joe?
At least 400 pounds.
400 or 500 pounds.
How was it transported?
It was transported. They obviously dollied it out, and we placed it in a box truck and transported it.
And it was a private company that did this?
No, our own internal employees.
From the school department?
Yes.
City employees too?
No, Cranston School Department employees.
How many people did it take to?
It took, let's see, 4 people.
And did they have some kind of handling equipment to move it, or?
The way I understand it is that before they cut it out, they had placed handles on it, and I'm not going to get into technical terms because I'm not very handy myself, but they used a rope system to lower it after it was cut out, and then by the handles, they were able to pick it up, place it on a cart or some kind, and they transported it outside, and they placed it on the back of a
Where
flatbed.
did it go?
Can't tell you that. It's
Why not?
confidential information that we're off this
What's
point.
confidential about it?
It's confidential is that we don't want anyone really to know where it is in any way, shape, or form at this particular point.
Why is that?
Just in case there's inquiries made at those locations, as well as potential folks trying to get in and maybe do something to it.
So are you going to charge any entity that wants it so that we could recoup our tax dollars that were spent?
Ma'am, I'm not sure of that decision, that the school committee submits the decision, and I think you probably have to ask them that question when they make that decision.
For
Do you
people
have any
who,
feelings about this removal, Mr. Clark?
No, I do not.
for people who are, really wanted to see it saved, if they say you should have hired like a museum company or something like that, what would you say to them about what was done to preserve it?
Well, I mean, I think we made every effort to make sure that, what we did is we had what we call the clerk of the works come in. He's a city and a school department employee. He kind of manages all construction jobs that we have. And he looked at it, and he has a lot of background in terms of the actual plans and looking at the plans. And he determined that they were pretty sure that we could save this particular piece of history. And he was right. The guys did a great job. And what I would say to them is our own people, we thought we had the confidence in our staff to do this and to preserve it, and at the same time make sure that the cost factor was, was evident, that we were able to save money, I believe, in doing it in-house.
Well, if it was
Plans for this
historical, why
space?
didn't you call the Cranston
Excuse me.
Historical Society?
Are there any plans for this space?
No, not at this point. I think we're going to leave it up to the school and the students.
So if it was so historical, why did you leave it to a custodial type of person to determine how best to preserve it, rather than the Cranston Historical Society?
Well, I hate to correct you, but it wasn't a custodial type person. It was a clerk of the works who was an architectural background and a building background, and was able to read the plans of the building and look at it and determine what it was. We felt that we could do it at the least amount of cost, and at the same time preserve it for, obviously future plans, whoever that happens to be, which obviously, again, is the school committee's decision.
And so it's in bubble wrap?
No, ma'am.
Was there anything to the timing of it? I mean, I'm guessing you did it on a weekend, so it wouldn't interfere with school. But
We did the least amount of disruption that we possibly could have to the school. Obviously, this building is used quite a bit, and by the drama club, by the music group, and obviously by kids in general. So rather than closing down the entire building while we did this, we thought it would be best to do it on the weekend.
Did you reopen the auditorium today?
Yes,
Today was the first day, yesterday was closed.
correct.
What is a, I'm sorry, I know you said this probably twice, a clerk of the works again?
Clerk of the Works is, they manage all construction jobs for the city and the school department. So if you were, say, putting a roof on the building, they would manage it in the sense that they would keep an eye on the contractor who bid on it. Or they would give you, there's a school buildings committee, for example. So we would do additions, repairs, major repairs. He sits on that, and he would be kind of our observer, our eyes on
And
site.
his training is?
Yes.
He is, what kind of training again, you said?
A construction background.
Okay.
So did it cost any additional money because you did it on a Saturday?
Well, yes, it did. The figure I gave you obviously included overtime for our staff, yes. That's okay, I'm sorry. It was, we would say approximately $2,500.
I'm sorry, that was the cost?
The cost to remove it, yes, which included the labor cost, which was the biggest chunk of it, quite honestly.
How many hours?
On Saturday, it took, they worked on it for 7 hours, and on Sunday, it was another 4 hours.
And so what did you say it's wrapped in?
It's structured such that they place things like a top around it, but more importantly, they braced it up so that the actual, because you would have to understand, if you put like your wall out,
Right.
you'd see like, obviously pieces of wood in between, and you'd have sheetrock. Well, if you drop it, so that sheetrock can kind of fold and bend, so they actually braced it as well so that it couldn't bend and fold, and then they covered up with kind of a top pollen.
Covered it up with a what?
A top pollen, like a top.
And it's braced in between two pieces of wood?
It's braced in many pieces of wood,
Okay.
because it's a pretty substantial size. Now, remember, as I said earlier, it's much larger in scope than a normal banner, because they had to cut around it to make sure that they were able to protect it.
And where is it stored?
It's stored in a confidential, secure location.
Is it climate controlled or something, or is it
No.
just a normal storage?
Nor-
And was there a reason it's to this weekend as opposed to any other weekend? I know the word had come out a couple weeks ago, that there was no rush to take it down. Was it more or less you didn't want people to know?
Not necessarily, no, we just, we would have preferred, quite honestly, to take it down prior to the recess period or the vacation period, so that we would have time to get in here and do it, but it didn't work out that way, so we decided, the superintendent decided to do it this weekend.
Has the school committee given any timeline for when they'll decide where the banner goes?
Not to my knowledge.
Have any of the kids commented today? Have they been in?
Something I was asked earlier, I'm sorry, I did not speak to the principal, so I'm not sure.
Was this room open today?
Yes, it was.
It was. Was there an assembly or any kind of activity?
No, they might have been the drama classes being held in here, yes, but no assembly.
How about the other thing?
Creed,
No stay?
at this particular point, I would say there's been no talk about that, yes. Any other questions? All right, thank you very much.
Thanks for taking it down.
A judgment has to be entered before Judge LaGuerre, with the, I guess, the fact of the compromise and fees. And once he approves that, then I guess we'll have a deadline we'll have to meet to pay. So I'm not sure when
Judgment on, what
The-
kind of a judgment?
for the payment of the legal fees.
The banner's not insured, is it?
No, is the banner insured? No.
No.
No, not insured, no.
So the judgment has to be entered on the legal, on that
Judgment has to be
150.
entered on the 150.
And then the timeline.
See, the parties have agreed, but
Right.
now they have to go to Judge LaGuerre and
Okay, so
get
did
him to
they
agree.
sign something in court? Oh, you don't know?
All I know is I talked to our attorney Kavanaugh, and he told me that they've agreed. So,
Okay, do you know if the city agreed to help pay that $150?
I know there have been discussions, I don't have, the decision has not been made.
Okay. Do you guys have?
Well, we'll have to find it, and I'm sure we'll have to move monies from one spot to another to make sure we meet.
Do you save any on snow removal or anything?
That's one of the areas that we've done pretty well on, yes.
What do you normally budget for that?
What, for the snow removal?
Yeah.
We're probably, it depends on the year, we'd say $200,000, $300,000. We've had so far really one storm that we've had to respond to.
Do you know how much it costs?
Somewhere, I think it was in the vicinity at that particular time, so it was around 10, 15,000.
So you have some money in there?
Yep.
Has that been painted over, or
Yeah,
is
he
it going
did,
to paint it?
he did, when the sheet rocked, they kind of did like a
see.
popcorn, yeah, just,
Is it going to stay like that?
no,
No, even-
we're just gonna keep it to the point where so they decide what they're gonna do with it. There's no reason to do something now over there and then the school,
they might cover it up. Oh, yeah.
Was there
Yeah,
any
but
structural, when they started chiseling into this wall, I don't know how thick it is, but was there any,
Well, before you got here, I think I was saying that the actual banner was 8 by 4, but when they decided to cut around, they had to go much further, so they went by 11, like almost by 5. And when they did that, obviously cut around, the weight about 400 or 500 pounds.
400 or 500, okay, the superintendent told me 200.
No, I was asking one of the gentlemen who was there doing
Wow.
it.
Wow. So how did they get it out of here?
They actually first, what they did was they put handles on it,
Hi.
Hey, Hayden, good.
and then they had a rope system.
Like metal handles?
Yeah, so that you can carry it. and lift it, you know.
Thank you, Mr. Votto.
Oh, you're welcome.
Thank you.
Nice seeing you. Yep. And they lowered it by rope, and then they were able to run it by the handles and then put it on a cart.
How many guys were there?
There were 4.
Wow. And they put it on a cart and just kind of...
Then they rolled it up, yeah, and wheeled it out to a box truck and moved it.
Did you say that you agreed to a number with the ACLU on the attorney's fees?
My understanding from Mr. Kavanaugh was that the district, the city, and the ACLU have agreed on $150,000 in terms of legal fees, yes. But as I also said, that the judgment has to go before Judge LaGuerre to confirm that figure for, and then once that happens, then we'll have to know.
Is the city on the hook or the school district on the hook?
Actually,
or how's it
there's
gonna play out?
both of us were defendants, so.
Right. So you're going to arm wrestle it out to see who
I don't
gets...
think so.
It was 7 a.m. on Saturday, right?
Yeah, 7 a.m. on Saturday, yes.
Started at Senate.
7 or about 2.
And the weight again was 4.
She said 400 to
About 400 or
500
500 pounds, yep.
Oh, is this one of the guys
That's
who do
Joe,
it?
yeah.
Yeah. What's
He's
his
a
name?
big guy.
Joe?
Joe.
And it's Joe or Joseph?
Yeah, well, it's Joseph, right?
Oh, I want to quote from the man. How did you get started on anything remotely like this?
I've done all this stuff my whole life.
Like, but are you taking down things, pictures off?
Yeah, the school department do everything.
That's fair. So,
The other gentlemen are carpenters and carpenter and mason, and another employee.
And the mason, and what was the third one?
He has another custodial,
And the custodial worker?
well.
He's a custodial
maintenance.
foreman too.
Custodial
Yeah.
foreman.
Yeah.
Okay. So was it, how did it compare to what you anticipated when you looked at it, when they gave you the job? Looked at it, was it more work or less, or about what you
Well,
expected?
it kind of went, well, as we planned.
Yeah,
Brad,
Brad, clerk of the works. yeah.
where he works, he had engineering background too, so
Yeah.
he knew what he was doing. when he
so
was
the
at
wall
fault.
didn't start to like crumble because it
Oh,
was
no,
old or
no.
anything? No. Are they,
Secured perfectly.
really? That's
Yeah.
good.
Like sandwiched it.
Yeah, between plywood.
Well, and insulation.
Oh, and insulation
secure it,
too?
Plywood, secured it. in some
Insulation
places.
like in-house insulation?
A foam insulation.
Foam
Kind of
insulation.
preserve it and keep it protected. And
Protect it, and then put on the plywood on top?
Mhm.
That's interesting, okay.
Sandwich. Big sandwich.
How, can you
Very-
tell, could you tell that, like, underneath it, could you see the actual paper, the way it attached to it when you
It's
looked
like
at
a
it?
wallpaper. It's like a
Yeah,
wallpaper.
but you could tell that it was it coming up on the sides and like, just from age? 'Cause it's been there so long?
No,
No?
not that one.
No?
Pretty good. Well, as far as I know.
Oh,
I mean, I didn't get to examine it closely. but-
yeah. That's great, wow, looks like you did the job.
Cool.
All right, thanks a lot.
You're welcome.